Hello, and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Kamloops for the MSEM format. I'm Caillou, and I'm joined by Dodger and Fifth today,
What's up?
and we're going to be commentating the round one match between Zarohh, who is playing blue-white flash control, and Simon Williamson, who is playing green-black Hunter's Hideout, which is a graveyard-based mid-range deck. Um, so I think that this is going to be an interesting matchup just because I think Tyrant's deck can really eat control alive if he can resolve the signature Hunter's Hideout or a Strange Discovery, which can easily recur a Hunter's Hideout, and then just you can kind of play around the interaction. But Key's deck is uh, very good at kind of tempoing out the opponent and just answering them as they play on curve.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see if kind of Key can just stop Simon from ever getting anything in grave. At which point the Hunter's Hideout doesn't even need to be an instant answer. And unlike similar control decks we've seen in the past, Key has some fast win cons with the addition of Aegis to the format. And Augmented Spawn kind of just goes over the top of anything that Simon can do. So
Yeah, in my opinion, I actually think Key is very favored in this matchup because Key is running a pretty high density of counter magic. And that is by far the best way to deal with a card like Hunter's Hideout. And since really Tyrant only has a couple win conditions, and he's also packing a fair amount of removal that's just dead against Key, I feel like Key should definitely win, assuming Simon isn't able to resolve an early Hunter's Hideout, or perhaps an early Intrepid.
So having two Oracle's Vision early on is very good for Tyrant. It's also, ironically, good for Key because lots of Key's cards have flashback. Didn't hit anything off of the didn't hit any flashback cards off of the first Oracle's Vision, but I think that it's not unlikely that the second one will just hit some sort of flashback spell or a diffuse or something that will help Key later on in the game.
Yeah, Key is also running cards like Unraveling and Diffuse. So casting Oracle's Vision is actually going to be pretty risky for Simon because he's gonna risk giving Key some free value on those cards.
Okay, so here comes a second. And unfortunately, it looks like Simon milled another Oracle's Vision, so it doesn't have the God Hand.
Yeah.
Did mill it a Descend, which could be useful versus Aegis if Key kind of taps out recklessly with that. Also,
I
notably,
actually think
this is
Descent
interesting
kind of a
because
dead card in this matchup.
oh my god!
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Key has milled half of his win cons so far. That is actually something that's relevant.
That is pretty relevant. Key still has like 3 or 4 manlands in his deck, so I'm not too worried about it yet. But yeah, that is definitely a concern.
Oh yeah, it has Tomb, Ares Pillar. Doesn't have a monument, surprisingly, but yeah, I guess Tomb and Ares Pillar are reasonable. Um, so off of the Endless Discoveries, Journey's End is really good here. Another Endless is always good. Having the triple Endless Discoveries here is going to pay dividends. And a second Unraveling is going to be pretty nice. The thing is, Simon will get to resolve either a Strange Discoveries or an Intrepid under Counter Magic.
I'm actually curious why the Strange Discovery didn't come down turn 1. I would think they would want that grinding as long as possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Simon probably wanted to get the double Oracle's Division on turn 2. And he probably might have also wanted to just get that Cradle of Corruption out of the way and didn't feel that getting Strange Discovery on turn 1 was a necessity. I would disagree. I would rather just play it on turn 1 if I were in that position. But
I feel like would Simon do just play Strange Discovery into Prying Inquiry now?
It looks like they're going to play the Grim Bastion tapped.
Still isn't playing the Strange Discovery.
I think playing the Grim Bastion tapped before playing the Prying Inquiry is just straight up the wrong move. because perhaps something you might see in Key's hand would make you want to. Oh, it looks like Key only revealed one card.
Yeah, that was a mistake on their part. They're probably just gonna fix it in a hot sec. But yeah, I'm like, and it feels like Strange Discovery, like losing the 2 life off of the shock fetch is completely fine in this matchup.
It's almost irrelevant.
Like Key closes out the game quickly, but like 2 life is not going to change how quickly Key closes out the game. Okay, so probably doesn't want to grab Unraveling because that just enables a second Unraveling. And really wants to resolve something next turn.
I actually think that
actually taking Unraveling might be fine because then
taking Unraveling is fine because he doesn't have any other counter magic, and then he can most likely resolve Intrepid next turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing for Simon in this matchup is he just wants to get a threat on
actually,
counter
though,
magic.
If you play Intrepid next turn, Key just untaps, plays like grabs Unraveling off the disco, plays Unraveling, freezes Simon's lands, and then just scries plus draws, and then Simon gets 1 swing off with the Intrepid, but is otherwise time walked. So that could be a consideration. And even though Key milled a bunch of win cons right there, does grab the second Aegis, so now has something to do next turn.
I will also note that it looks like Key missed their triggers on Sea of Skies Beyond so far. I think it was only 1, but
yeah, there's the endless disco, and also didn't grab anything with the disco on end.
Yeah, so it looks like Key might be a little unused to playing with some of their cards. Because actually missing triggers on C can be pretty important, or it can be pretty brutal because it can take a long time to actually get that C online.
Mm-hmm.
So every trigger counts.
Yeah, it's not like the others in the cycle, like Moskef and Cradle of Corruption, which are, depending on the matchup, are pretty easy to turn on. Because you just kind of get it like whole scale.
Although with a lot of these, it's very difficult to remember your triggers. And especially in competitive Magic, I find it difficult to put the triggers on the stack at the right time, which is also important.
Oh yeah, I miss my fair share of triggers. I was just explaining that this trigger in particular is one that you don't want to miss.
And like Key's deck feels like reasonably skill testing compared to like lots of the other potential decks you could play. So as a first deck or like first foray into the format, it's definitely gonna be a lot to handle, I feel like.
Yeah, so I was actually, I guess I might not have mentioned this in this video, but I made this deck that Key's playing. And I was talking to them right after they'd started the format, and they asked me if I had a control list. So I think I played this list in, I believe it was a league, and I went 3-2. Mm-hmm. So it's not a bad deck for sure, but it does require, like, you have to be efficient with your mana, and you have to know when you can afford to tap out for things and what is worth countering, stuff like that.
So Simon runs the Intrepid into the Unraveling, but is finally going to run out the Strange Discovery, which means next turn Simon can, if he is so inclined, crack the Strange Discovery and get back an Intrepid. Of course, okay, so now there's definitely the problem where Key has 4 lands, which means Key can now pick up Unraveling and then immediately cast it. And if Key doesn't choose to do that, it has Aegis available. So momentum is very much in Simon's court to do something here.
Especially because this Unraveling is pretty nasty now that it's also time walks in addition to counterspelling.
Yeah.
I think Simon is in a very bad position here. They don't really have any good way to provide a clock. Key's still got multiple answers available, what with the Endless Discoveries in play. Key's also got an Aegis that if Simon plays nothing, he can just slam that down and start drawing cards.
I always forget that has Flash. What an absolute monster.
Yeah, so I'll talk about Aegis a little bit. Aegis was actually the reason I built the deck. I believe Canterbury Egg actually won the last GP playing an Esper Flash deck with Aegis, which is like given that this card has already won a GP, like everyone should be aware of like how powerful it is. The main restrictions of the card are your deck needs to have a reasonable way to go up to 6 on command. And
Which like
that can be
Nareba
done
and Endless Disco are like the main ways to like that I've seen to turn it on really.
Sea of
Yeah.
Skies and Upkeep does it too.
yeah, that as well. The old version I was playing was running 4 of Sea Cash instead of Endless Discoveries, which I think is probably worse. So that was the main change that I told Key they should probably make.
Sea Cash is not a bad card. I think it's just
Sea Cash is good, and there's a lot of discard in the deck, and Sea Cash being instant speed is not negligible. Endless Discoveries is just a 1 mana investment though, so you can usually play it and hold.
and like
up
you're
the spell at the
not
same
doing
time.
much else on one, and like Endless Disco is just so much better. Just it is.
Won't be for long.
Yeah, last GP that it's gonna be like this, so enjoy it. Okay, so Simon gets a second Strange Disco. I think it's gonna so he's gonna crack the clue.
He might crack the. Oh yeah, he's cracked the. Okay. Something tells me this game is going to go on very long.
Yeah.
I
Both
mean,
decks are pretty grindy.
if Key has his way, I feel like Key is just gonna like unraveling here. If Simon plays anything, and if Simon doesn't play anything, just Aegis pick up a bunch of stuff with Disco and start smashing face.
Okay, he should slam Mages here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's one of the reasons I'm less high on Descent on the Helpless, just because
It's not
I
being
feel like
instant.
Exent does a similar thing, but lets you respond to these types of plays.
Mhm.
I don't like sorcery speed removal.
To be fair though, Descent is also potentially a 4-for-1. Like,
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Sure,
Um,
in my experience, the 2/2 flyer is relevant. It's always nice to have a free Windrake, but I haven't seen it pick that many things up.
I feel like that depends on the matchups you're in, and like for the most part, I've seen it like played in like weird villainy mirrors, but also like in creature-based decks, it's just such a backbreaker.
I would say I think Descend is overall a better card than Exant in a vacuum. But in a deck that runs basically no creatures, I would say Exant is a better card.
Mm-hmm. Also, notably, Key does have an Unending Sands in hand, so next turn can fetch up a Nareba, and there's only one land off from having it activable. So Simon's going to play Whisperwood's Exploration. Milt's a Hunter's Hideout, notably, so he's just is gonna grab that back up.
Yeah.
And look for any opportunity to squeeze that in, which I do not think is going to happen very soon.
Actually, I think it's pretty likely that he'll be able to resolve Hunter's Hideout because, well, first of all, they've got 2, so they can guarantee it if they want. But leading with Descent on the Helpless, targeting Aegis, that's probably going to get countered. And Key will probably do that by taking Unraveling off of Endless Disco. And then Simon could just go ahead and slam that Hunter's Hideout, and then the game's probably over. Key will have to spend a mana to get Journey's End and kill it at sorcery speed. Or the game's not over, but
already got.
I think this is where Simon gets the tempo in his favor.
Or Key can just let this die, which I feel like is not great.
That is an okay line. If I were in Key's position, I probably would counter this though.
I feel like if I was in Key's,
yeah.
I mean, but
because we know the hideout's coming, it's a better line to let it die. But
yeah, I don't blame Key for making this play at all.
Yeah, I think the main thing with letting it die is that while it seems bad, having the Sea of Skies Beyond makes it like a lot safer to just let it die now and then recur it later.
Sea of Skies Beyond doesn't shuffle your graveyard though.
Oh, it does not?
Only shuffles your hand.
Never mind, I take it all back.
Yeah.
Still also has the Unending Sands to dig for other win cons or just fetch up a creature land. But it looks like Key is gonna scry plus draw and then counter the Descend.
Yeah. I think that's a fine play because you don't know what else Tyrant's gonna be playing this turn, so you locking some lands might not do anything.
I can't find Tyrant's
it's
opponent's
also
list.
Oh, sorry.
I can't find Tyrant's opponent's list. Where's What Sands targets are there? There's Nareba.
There's Nareba, and then 2 Drake Manlands, and then also Canyon Falls.
Mm.
Um,
I kind of like the Desert Splash. Not committing
Yeah. So the reason I ran it is because I wanted to make sure the deck has Nareba, because Nareba is just such a powerful card, and it's not running Intrepid. So and it's not running Intrepid because the deck is supposed to operate almost entirely instant speed.
Yeah.
Plus, once you have control of the game, I think it's important for a control deck to be able to just like actually put a clock on the opponent. And
Yeah,
so
here comes
Unending
Hunter's Hideout
Sands
number
lets you
1.
get your win con
Oh,
whenever
also
you want.
fun fact, Hunter's Hideout coming down. Key has to, if Key doesn't instantly answer this, next turn Simon just Hunter's Hideout and
kills the
whacks Aegis. Aegis can attack right now, but yeah. And Key has reconsider for the second Hunter's Hideout, but that doesn't really stop anything. Unless Key goes double reconsider on it.
The Aegis absolutely should not attack because of the 2.
Oh wait, yeah, 2 beasts, never mind.
Also, amusingly, has to Journey's End now on their turn to avoid it, the Hunter's Hideout killing the Aegis, but that does also mean the Aegis doesn't draw a card. So this Hunter's Hideout is providing an awful lot of value, taking it a Journey's End, denying a card draw, and also making 2 3/3s.
I'm fairly certain that Key probably could avoid this position with some of Key's earlier plays, such as like leaving some lands tapped when they entered play. But I think that Simon being able to resolve the Hunter's Hideout was pretty lucky as well.
Because Key, by all rights, should have just, I think, let the Aegis die. Because Hunter's Hideout is, like, puts you in, like, this awful position. And, like, Key knew that Simon had it.
Yeah. I think it's a fair point to say, like, you never tap out if your opponent can cast Hunter's Hideout in this matchup.
Because it's like, your main plan is to 1-for-1 your opponent.
Yeah.
Like, you do not have multi-for-1s other than Children of the Clouds, which is a bad multi-for-1.
The deck does have, or at least, actually, I don't know what Key put their sideboard in, but, okay, let's look at the sideboard.
It has 3 Remorse sideboard, which is good. But main board...
Yeah, Remorse. Actually, Abscond is a big game coming out of the board. You can steal the Hunter's Hideout.
Oh my god, is not Journey's Ending. Oh, maybe in response to the trigger? No? No?
Is there any way that's a correct play?
I don't think that there's a universe, but...
You can do it after the trigger resolves.
But Key told Simon to go.
Oh,
So.
Yeah, I disagree. I think you have to kill that Hunter's Hideout.
I think he might either forget about the Hideout's active, forget that Aegis is an artifact because it's got a colored border.
The latter seems very likely. So on upkeep, game molds 2. But like, I think it's very safe to just Hunter's Hideout, kill Aegis, swing in with the beasts, and then maybe play a second Strange Discovery? I don't know.
I think you always kill the Aegis, like, as the last thing.
But then you don't get to swing in for 6. And it feels like a free action from, like, both from what we know and from what Simon knows, because there's no way to counter it. Oh, Descend from Grave. Oh no. That seems very questionable.
Both players forgetting about the Hideout activation.
Yeah, so now Key just reconsiders this. Or, I guess Key is just going to Journey's End in response. And then reconsider? Yeah, that feels like... Yeah. Like, you would 100% Hunter's Hideout instead. And this doesn't even, like...
Yeah, I really disagree with the choice to Memento Descent on the help list as well.
There's absolutely no universe where this is the right play. At the very least, you can at least try to land an Intrepid.
Or, like, but yeah, I think the best case scenario is you just don't cast anything, and then suddenly Key doesn't have an access to interact on. And yeah, it's just going to reconsider the Descend. And now Simon is in an unfortunate TM position, but it's still not super bad because Key doesn't have an answer to the second Hunter's Hideout if Simon plays properly.
So Key is actually going to take 6 here. Oh no, never mind. They have the Endless Discoveries. Alright.
Even if Simon can land a Hunter's Hideout on the next turn, they can just use a Reconsidered to tap 2 lands so that he can't get rid of the Aegis and continue to draw cards off that, and he's going to hit another answer. Probably.
Actually, Aegis can attack here.
Wait, and also, what are you saying about tapping lands?
Because Simon doesn't have enough mana for Hunter's Hideout and the 2 mana for Reconsider and 3 mana for activation on Aegis, so it's probably going to draw another 2 turns worth of cards. And I feel like by that time...
Children of the Clouds is big.
Wait, I have a... Key just activated their Endless Discoveries, but then put Endless Discoveries on top of their deck and then shuffled their deck.
Yeah, that's Endless Discoveries. It's if there are no cards exiled with Endless Discoveries, you shuffle it into your owner's library.
Have I been misreading this card this entire time?
Yeah, once you have no more.
Oh my gosh!
Once you have no more cards exiled with it, you wait. So
in my head, I always had it as Endless Discoveries goes back to your hand.
Oh nope.
Yeah, that would be much stronger.
Okay, so it's gonna double block with the Beast. Is Key just gonna? Okay, so his Key is gonna.
He can disseminate one, then flashback it.
Okay, so his Key is just gonna double disseminate.
I think this is fine. Key doesn't actually have the double counterspell in their hand anyway, so it's okay to tap out to just 2 mana.
Mm-hmm. And then just plays Disco again, probably.
I would say I would hold up the Reconsider.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry, Reconsider plus Planet. Duh.
It feels really bad to see such a strong lead from Simon kind of just completely demolished now.
I mean, this game has been very back and forth. Like, Key felt
Simon
like
will be able to resolve another Hunter's Hideout here, so
yeah,
that's not nothing.
Like, Key had like a very strong start with the double unraveling. Now, yeah, so Simon now gets to resolve. Ooh, but third unraveling for Key next turn. But
Simon can also immediately kill the Aegis, though.
Yeah, just Hunter's Hideout, kill Aegis, and then you're off to the races again.
I feel like if Simon doesn't kill the Aegis here, he has just forgotten either that Aegis is an artifact or that Hunter's has the activation.
Mm-hmm. I think
actually this is a big one too because Key doesn't have access to Journey's End, and Key I believe only has 1 more copy.
I think
their
2.
Deck? Oh, they have 2 more copies. Okay,
two
so
more
it's not super unlikely that they could find another one, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not having permanent interaction, like a reasonable permanent interaction, is definitely a bit like sus here.
Yeah, I think with this deck, it's very important that you keep counter magic up at pretty much all times, and that you continue to draw cards. Like those are the 2 main things. So,
Okay, well, so Simon definitely forgot that Hunter's Hideout has an activated ability, so it's gonna descend again from grave. Gets the 2/2. Is there anything? Oh, okay, bring back to Chile.
Imagine if Key had kept up Reconsider here.
Yeah, this would now then
Key would basically win the game instantly.
And that was information, right? Because just Descend was in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I vehemently disagree with the choice to play the Endless Disco there.
And oh my God, Key doesn't. The Key doesn't have any removal. I guess Children is pseudo removal if Simon decides to attack.
Yeah, that's the thing about playing this deck. You can't tap out like basically ever.
So grabs back the unraveling, but geez.
Is Simon also running a desert fetch package for this Ravaged Monument?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
the desert fetch package is pretty uncommon.
I just feel like because there's the Lumbering Hillock, which is the other 4/4 green manland, but that one has trample, and I feel like paying 2 more to activate a manland is perfectly fine in exchange for having your 4/4 have trample.
It's interesting because Simon does have 2 other utility deserts, but does not have desert fetches. So that might just be a iteration thing for future versions of the deck.
I think in decks that don't explicitly play ramp, I would actually rather have Ravaged Monument.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
That's just a personal preference, though.
And like
I feel
Simon's
like
deck
when I'm
seems like
using a
reasonably
manland,
mana
I'm
greedy.
not using my mana for other stuff. So I would rather just have a 4/4 that doesn't get chumped by Children of the Cloud tokens.
Fair. Okay, so now Simon is in a bind because Simon knows that Key has counter magic. I think you probably just play Intrepid into counter magic and then Hunter's Hideout, right?
Yeah.
Because with Hunter's Hideout, then you are then fine with.
So we know that if he does that, Hunter's Hideout will resolve. Simon doesn't know that because Key has enough mana to potentially like counter both, but
swinging first makes hella sense because.
Oh
now,
yeah, of course.
Because now Key is forced to Children. So
Well, he's
Simon,
not forced to.
Simon is gonna. Okay.
It looks like he is just gonna tap out for Children of the Clouds here.
Charlie not discarding to make a 4/4 is interesting. I would way
No.
rather have a 4/4.
Simon put the trigger on the stack, and this is in response to the trigger.
Yeah. That doesn't really matter. Theoretically, Key should have cast that after the trigger, so Simon doesn't know what's coming before he gets a card back.
Mm-hmm.
I think playing the Children is fine, but if I were Key, I'd probably rather have the Unraveling at least up, so I would have cast it for like 3, because that still trades with the attackers.
Yeah. I think the reasoning for this would be to.
It would be to get a clock going.
Yeah, and like I was gonna say to kill the demon, but then actually does not have enough to kill the demon.
Well, the demon's not attacking.
I mean, next turn, presumably.
Oh.
Because it doesn't have any other removal. Has a bunch of ways to dig,
like,
but
the
has
last
no
4
removal.
turns.
Yeah, I actually think that Simon becomes very favorite here because Simon will be able to resolve both Hunter's Hideout and Intrepid.
And then you grab Nareba and you're off to the damn races. Or like if Simon is feeling real conservative, grabs what do you call it, Dust Barons, and then can start poking Unravelings out of Key's grave.
That's going to take forever because Simon doesn't get to decide what card gets exiled.
Oh, never mind.
It says target player exiles a card from their graveyard.
Okay, I thought it was a target card. Never mind, that card
Yeah.
sucks. So, in that case, yeah, you either grab Nareba or Monument of the Queens, and then you're off to the races.
I think I would get Monument of Queens here. If I'm Simon, I just want to finish this game as quickly as possible before Key gets more lands. Key's deck on like infinite lands is actually unbeatable.
To be fair, though, how many more win cons does Key have? So Key has spent
He's
both
still
Children, both Aegises, an Augmented Spawn, so only has the creature lands.
Key has one more Aegis.
Oh, okay, so Key has more Aegis and then creature lands. And Simon's resolving this Hunter's Hideout, which means Aegis might as well have no text.
Yeah, creature lands don't do it here. I think Simon has basically got the game locked up.
Also,
this has been super back and forth.
With all of these bird tokens, putting tokens on Cradle of Corruption, Simon can crack that for a couple copies of Aegis, which draws a good number of cards.
Mm-hmm. He's not playing Why would he have to be Intrepid?
That is very confusing to me.
Maybe Simon finally read
the
Hunter's
answer
Hideout?
that is probably what he's thinking about is Simon probably wants to activate Hunter's Hideout in response to Endless Discoveries.
That's still not very good.
Yeah, Hunter's Hideout discarding Intrepid does not sound like a play I would want to make.
Maybe Strange Discovery something back and then discard it to Hunter's Hideout, but that also...
That's also a possibility, yeah.
Okay, so... There's the 4th Unraveling, but still nothing super substantive.
You have to discard something for Hunter's Hideout, so he can't even activate it. Like, I would rather play the Intrepid and have a land to discard than discard an Intrepid to do whatever he's doing with it.
And you know, like what we're talking about is you can also just Strange Discovery and then immediately Hunter's Hideouts. There's really no reason not to play the Intrepid.
Oh, I did not notice the untapped swamp. I only thought he had 4.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back in a second. I'm just gonna get some water.
Okay, so Key is just maxing out on draw right now. Just gonna plan it again.
Completely unrelated and very self-congratulatory, but of the 3 tokens on display right now, I very much prefer the bird token art.
Yeah, like just the pigeons. Very cute. Unconventional bird choice. Okay, so Key, even though Simon's been milling himself like crazy with the Strange Discovery, Key has dug deeper into his deck than Simon has.
That is kind of surprising, actually.
Yeah, so Key has so much card draw, has Sea of Skies Beyond, but just doesn't, like, the number of relevant cards in Key's deck just drops by so much once Simon resolves this Hunter's Hideout.
Does Endless Discoveries do the kind of Teferi thing where you can just stall out your own mill by drawing, playing, shuffling, drawing, playing, shuffling?
Yes. If you have the mana.
I actually... Yes. Yes.
In fact, it's very easy to do so once you have no cards in library because... Oh wait, no.
You actually, if you have no cards in library and you play Endless Discoveries, I believe you cannot activate its ability.
No, because it's not a
Actually,
cost.
you can still activate it.
Yeah, you just activate it and then it sees no card. You return...
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so on end, Simon's gonna crack Strange Discovery for Hunter's Hideout numero 3.
You're mixing your languages there.
Oh no, okay, Prying Inquiry. That's fine. You just force an unravel irrelevant target.
What, so you can force through the Intrepid that you could have played last turn when they were tapped out?
Exactly, totally.
I haven't agreed with a single turn that's gone on for like a couple minutes now.
Mm-hmm.
I think to be fair, it's easy for us to say that because we get perfect information.
Yeah, and also like, I think we're kind of, it's late, but we are also like, I think there's definitely like the energy of like having spectated another game and kind of just coming off that. These players came off like numerous technical difficulties and are probably just very tired and irritated.
And
also, this is game 1.
Oh Jesus, this is game 1. The other thing is that, you know, we have absolutely nothing riding on this game. I'm sure there's a lot more tension on Simon and his opponent. I still haven't figured out. So this Cockatoo's name is not the name that's on the GP website. Who is he fighting?
Oh, Zarohh. It's just this. Simon is playing against same name. It's just KI in front.
What is going on here?
So Simon played Prying Inquiry.
So many arrows.
Key played Unraveling and is choosing every mode except the land freeze mode.
Okay, yeah.
Which actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because though this so now Key is tapped out. Simon can freely just Intrepid and then activate Ravage Monument, swing with Ravage Monument.
Slight misplay. I think he should have left the blue open, so they can activate Endless Disco.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay, here comes Intrepid.
Was there enough blue density to get away with that?
Yes.
At the very least, it would have been better to if they had to leave a plains on tap instead of a Nareba, would have been better. But
that's fair.
That's a nitpick.
Mm-hmm. So Simon's either getting a Nareba or a Monument, but I think Monument is a better choice.
Honestly, actually, no.
Key does not have a way to answer this. Like
Simon could ditch the Nareba to kill the Disco. That doesn't
would
sound
be-
like the right play.
Like, wait, what is even on the disco is just 2 lands. That does not matter.
Uh,
If it was the last one in deck, maybe I would care, in case this goes to milling out. But I don't think it's worth tossing an Intrepid for.
And if it goes to milling out, then yeah, then Simon will probably just start Hunter's Hideout.
Simon got empty courtyard. Interesting.
Is gonna just cycle it.
Maybe he's. Oh, he's okay.
Okay, he's gonna activate Ravage Mon, which makes sense. Swing.
That's probably a chump block. Oh. Okay.
I wouldn't chump at this point. Zero's at 19. I would rather take the 4.
Mm-hmm. Like, what is the best case scenario for Key here? I'm honestly struggling to think.
The best case scenario is Key top decks Journey's End. And then stops playing card draw and lets Simon mill themselves out.
Fair, but without Strange Disco on the battlefield, Simon will not even mill before he just kills Key outright.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3/3s
Oh, I
coming out
forgot
of
Strange
the hideout.
Disco is gone. Okay, yeah, that's
Well, he did. Key did
Okay.
top deck the Journey's End.
Step one.
Now the question is, how do you deal with the 620 power on board?
Well, Key has Unraveling for one more turn of Happy Fun Times.
Just play Unraveling and scry 2, draw a card, freeze your lands, strike your board.
Mm-hmm.
Although I guess
is
you
it- wait,
can't
is
shrink
Unraveling-
and freeze.
Wait, so Unraveling, it isn't an optional choose one more. So Unraveling, it's a counter up to 1 target spell. Okay, so they had the tech for that. So I was about to say, it would be hilarious if Key could not use Intrepid because it did not have a target for the 4th mode.
I'm also remembering old Unraveling that froze all lands. This only freezes 3 lands.
Old Unraveling freezing all lands was disgusting garbage. I'm so
It was
glad.
horrible. I'm
Yeah.
so glad I got changed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Endless Disco number 2, Diffuse, Ocean Monastery. Yeesh.
So you were talking about how this deck, this control deck, presents a faster clock to get away with playing these tax mana or mana tax counterspells.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this game is going a lot longer. What do you think was the main pivot point where Key kind of shifted from having early pressure to being on the back foot and trying to slow the game down?
I think the main pivot point was probably when Key chose to tap out to counter the Descend instead of holding the mana up and then allowing the first Hunter's Hideout to resolve, because that meant Key had to tap out a bunch of mana to get back the Journey's End and then use that to get rid of the Hunter's Hideout, and then Simon was able to resolve the second Hunter's Hideout. And then Key's got to use a bunch of
and then that,
like,
that leads
he
to a
didn't have
that leads to a
done-
cascading effect where this what do you call it? Something of clouds, whichever creates the birds. Now has
Children
to
of the Clouds. Yeah.
now it's suddenly a defensive use rather than an offensive use, and it has
Yeah,
to
like-
block the Chile and the Cormoran.
So Key is saying my deck may just suck in the chat.
Nah, dog. I think to be very blunt, I think both of these players are not playing at their 100%, which is fine. But I do not think that the decks are the issue here, or I could definitely see or if the decks are the issue, I do not think that the issues with either player's decks have manifested themselves yet. If that makes sense. I don't think any of the gameplay that has occurred. There could be issues with the decks, but I don't think any of the things that have manifested so far are the results of the deck building.
I think the main issue is that Key has just been a little bit too willing to tap out, when in reality, you almost never want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Discos is getting changed pretty fundamentally, what do you think you would replace, and would it be another sorcery speed, high value draw engine, or are you going to put more instant speed stuff to prevent this kind of main phase tap out behavior?
Oh, in Key's deck, I actually, the original deck I made didn't have Endless Disco. It had 4 Sea Cash. So you could go back to that. I think the deck was good with Zcash. Zcash is good because the deck's running Wheat from Chaff to kind of enable like the whole Zcash unraveling. It's also got 4 diffuse, but I don't think Key has drawn any of their diffuses yet.
Oh,
There's 2 on this
Jesus.
second discovery, but I don't think we've seen any other ones.
Oh, yeah.
Also, while
Okay.
we were talking, Simon top decked a Vibrant Rapture and is playing it for X=1 to potentially kill all of Key's birds. Key's just
that's
gonna
gonna get unraveled though.
It gets unraveled, but like, I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I think the problem with this matchup is that you're not running board wipes in the main, which is an intentional choice because the deck is running cards like Aegis, which kind of demand a more like draw go style, right?
Mm-hmm. I think the thing is, I'm gonna make a hot take, not really a hot take, but I think that like Vibrant Rapture is a wrath which simultaneously allows you to play draw go. Even after it's nerfed to sorcery, you just wipe their board, get a bunch of petals, and you can still hold up counter magic. That's huge money. And I think that's what this deck really loses out on compared to the GP winner when you take out the black.
Especially because you can shape how big of a wrath it is. So for a lot of control win cons like the Aegis, it's a 5/5. You can make a pretty big wrath that still leaves that alive. And then, like you said, if it kills enough things, you still have mana for your counter spells.
Yeah, I do think that Key's deck is probably just a worse version of the GP winner. I don't think that's like, it's not a bad deck, but it kind of does the same things, just with a few less of the resources available.
I think like where I think it will excel is if you manage to like kind of just like answer stuff on curve and then just drop an Aegis and then just you punch face while having very efficient answers.
Yeah, that is essentially the idea. But it also involves being aware of like what needs to be countered and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Key is going to block the Ravaged Monument, take 4 from the Intrepid, has an Ares Pillar, which can be an additional blocker, but like that.
Not this turn.
Yeah, next turn, but like that either dies to everything or just trades with a Beast token, so not ideal.
Yeah, another problem is that Key also is just gonna run out of cards at some point.
And
Key is drowning in card draw and nothing to use it on.
Even if all of that happens and is Key is somehow able to get rid of all of these tokens, Simon has the reload with the Cradle.
Mm-hmm.
Simon also has 2 more Hunter's Hideouts in his deck at the bottom of his deck because they got Journeys Ended. So he'll be able to, if he can get a fetch land to shuffle his library, he can get those early enough and potentially like be able to get them out again when he has enough time to attack with them.
I mean, also, like, if this demon hits even once, it's recurring, like, Hunter's Hideout. And this game is just so over.
Also true.
Yeah, like, I think if I was Key, I would just concede at this point and then just move on with a fresh mindset to game 2.
Yeah, just save yourself the mental energy.
The time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a long game, and this is game 1.
Yeah. And I feel like the longer the game goes on, the more fatigued you get. The more fatigued you get, the more likely you are to make mistakes. And I think the deck where mistakes punish you the most is Control, just because it just cascades so hard, like letting one thread through. Like we saw it this game.
Yeah, as soon as you're on the back foot, it's a lot harder to do stuff on your opponent's turn because you have to have counter magic for what they have and also answers for what they had the turn before.
Mm-hmm. I do think Remorse out of the side will help so much in this matchup. So
I agree.
Game 2, solid chance that like, also like Soulgate. I think Soulgate. I'm just looking at like, 'cause I think this game is functionally over, but I think you abscond, Remorse, Journey's End, Soulgate. Maybe not all of the copies of Soulgate and Remorse, but I think that you definitely bring in the Journey's End and abscond in full. I'm not sure what you take out, honestly. Probably just some suite of counter magic, and you just kind of play like, or maybe the disseminates are not like, I don't know. I'm not very clear on what to take out because the deck seems like it needs almost everything. But I could definitely see like taking out Reconsiders or something, just to jam in like these more non-conditional answers. And then like I don't know.
What about the wheat from chaff? Especially if you're cutting some diffuses. I don't know if you're doing that, but I am.
The weeds being card negative unless you have 2 extra mana is definitely not super great for a control deck, so I could see cutting those, especially because Disco is just so much better.
Yeah, specifically
Key
because I've
is
seen Disco do so much work, this chaff has just kind of been sitting there, not doing very much of anything.
Mm. Also, this is just game, right?
yeah.
So takes...
Actually,
It's
a
like
hot-
17 damage.
Mhm.
how many turns has this wheat from chaff been sitting in Key's hand? Because I feel like it's been like upwards of 5 or 6.
I do not remember. Time is an illusion. Yeah, so that's it. Going to game 2. So we talked a little bit about the sideboard options already, but just to bring up the deck lists for the viewers. So I'm just going to quickly retrace what we were thinking of for Key's deck.
Oh, it looks like Simon is asking if they can continue the match tomorrow.
No!
Honestly, if I had just played that game, I wouldn't want to play Magic anymore either.
Okay, fair. Well, I guess we will get back to commentary.
Is that allowed under MSEM rules?
Yes, as far as I know. Like
Maybe they should just ping a judge real quick.
It would not hurt, but I don't think it's an issue. But yeah, for now, this is Caillou sign off. Hello, and welcome to the second game of the set between Tyrant and Zarohh. If you're wondering why I'm doing a weird intro-ish thing, which I usually don't do in between games, it's because these guys are actually playing their game on a separate day. After game 1, they agreed it was late and decided to meet up at a separate time. That's also why my co-casters aren't here. So right now we're moving into game 2. Simon is also now on the opposite side of the table. Key has an interesting hand here. Doesn't have any counter magic. Does have Endless Discoveries and Wheat from Chaff to potentially grab stuff, but Simon can capitalize on this pretty hard. Like, if Key... Okay, so Key can untap next turn, Endless Disco, but if Key doesn't hit any, like, good counter magic off of the Disco, Simon has a route to... Simon has 2 Hunter's Hideouts, plus... like Whisperwood's Export, like Simon's hand is basically just stacked as all hell. Yeah, he just needs a 3rd land and he's off to the races. Also notable is that if Key just plays an Endless Disco right here, then Simon can potentially just untap Pithwilt it if there's something dangerous underneath it. So yeah, Key is just going to Endless Disco right here. So it hits Reconsider, Disseminate, and Pool of Light. Reconsider is really the only worrisome one out of those. So Simon, I don't know. If I'm Simon, do I Pithwilt or Whisperwoods? I think you probably just still Pithwilt the Endless Disco, because otherwise it is just card advantage, and there's no reason not to just instantly kill it. Because that makes it so that Key can't even like 1-for-1 with it. And your Pithwilts aren't going to be hitting much else in this matchup either. So yeah, I think Simon should... And Simon has 2, so even if he needs it for something else, I think that Simon should just use his Wayfarers to find a swamp, and then untap Pithwilt. Okay, Simon hitting a 3rd land, that's super important here. I still think that the line is Wayfarer, Swamp, Forest, Pithwilt on the Endless Disco. No, it's just going to go to end. Oh, and that's an Aegis. Suddenly this is looking like... Key was looking like a little bit disfavored. Now this is looking like incredibly strong hand from Key. So Key is going to crack the Unending Sands. Probably find another Canyon Falls. Because that way... I think that's the only like non-utility desert, and Key doesn't want a utility land here. No, okay, he's getting Nareba. The reason I said Key doesn't want a utility land here is because I was going to say that Key wants counter magic up, which if Key had gotten a Canyon Falls could have essentially held up Endless Disco plus Reconsider, as well as a Planet Far Far Away plus Reconsider. So instead is going to draw 2, discards the Unraveling. Again, that feels like a huge punt. I feel like you want to keep up your interaction, not discard it. So now has 0 way to stop Simon from resolving a Hunter's Hideout. It all comes down to, will Simon actually go for it, just gutsy? Because if Simon does, then Simon won't get the instant value from it because it doesn't have enough lands in grave, or sorry, just cards in grave. But it'll still be a beating for Key to actually deal with. On end, just gonna Whisperwoods. Yeah, okay. So just gonna Whisperwoods Exploration. Okay, so hits Prying Inquiry and Cradle of Corruption. Probably would. I think I'd probably grab the Prying Inquiry because Simon already has an Intrepid, but I could also see grabbing the Intrepid just as well, I can just jam threats. But yeah, no, okay. So it's gonna grab the Prying Inquiry, in which case probably isn't gonna Hunter's Hideout. I think probably we'll just Prying Inquiry into... Oh, and yeah, Jar Champion gives an easy threat to play. So yeah, I think the bold play is just hard cast an Intrepid or a Hunter's Hideout and say YOLO. The safe play, playing around Diffuse and Reconsider, is Prying Inquiry into a Jar Champ, which I think Simon will take. Now, the thing is, you might be saying, wait, then Key can just pick up a Disseminate at end of turn and then Disseminate it. That is fair, but also, first of all, puts Key off of their only white source. It also forces Key to use 1 mana while Simon's tapped out. And Key doesn't draw land, then he's stuck on 2 mana and won't actually be able to do much of anything at that point. So I think that that makes a lot of sense. Oh no, but Simon's just gonna go for it. Just gonna hard cast the Intrepid. I don't think that this is the right play, but I do think it's a very gutsy one. And yeah, Key doesn't have the counter magic for it. Okay, in response to I guess in response to the Intrepid trigger is just gonna grab Pool of Light. Okay, so Simon grabbing a Dust Barons with the Intrepid trigger. Interesting, it's a dope utility land that can just essentially keep Key from having good graveyard stuff like the Unraveling potentially. So clutch top deck from Key is gonna be able to Unending Sands into a 4th land. Now things get a little trickier because Key has a Disseminate up, so no Hunter's Hideout for you. Or sorry, not Disseminate, has a Reconsider up. But Simon also can't just do nothing because Key has this Aegis, and the Aegis is probably it's just hard for Simon to deal with without resolving a Hunter's Hideout because Pithwilt just will not hit it in Simon's deck. I feel like the play... I don't know what the play is. Because normally in these situations you would Prying Inquiry, but Simon can't even Prying Inquiry because the Reconsider is under the Endless Disco, and Zarohh can pick it up and cast it at instant speed, which Simon can't cast Prying Inquiry at instant speed. And I'm trying to think, let's say that you just Pithwilt, destroy Disco, try to destroy Disco. Zarohh probably just picks up both to Disseminate and Reconsider in response, and then can still have Reconsider up. So another potential idea is literally just a swing in with Intrepid, and then if Key double Disseminates it, you don't care because then you just tap out for Hunter's Hideout. That is also a really acceptable plan. Okay, so Simon played a Prying Inquiry, grabbing an Aegis from Zarohh. Gonna animate and swing in with the Intrepid. Is Key gonna block, or is Key just gonna... no, not block, sorry. Is Key gonna Disseminate, or what? No, okay, Key is just gonna take the 4. He's on a 3-turn clock now. Main 2, Simon, I think, should play the Jar Champion to try and bait the Reconsider. Because Simon knows that otherwise... No, okay. Simon knows that otherwise Zarohh can just play Aegis Yeah, okay. Zaroh just gonna drop the Aegis. Oh, but in response can Pitwill the Endless Disco. Oh, that is smart. So now Zaroh doesn't have interaction. Of course, this is assuming that Zaroh doesn't draw another counterspell off of the free Aegis trigger. But this is a lot more concrete of a way of dealing with those cards rather than just trying to bait the counter magic with the Jar Champ. And because of Duress, Simon doesn't care about cards in hand. So Zaroh's going to play tap to the creature land they drew. Draws a card off Aegis, but it's just another land. So yeah, I think if you're Simon, you just Windmill Slam Duress plus Hunter's Hideout right here, right? And I think at that point you are well on your way to winning. So yep, here comes a Duress. In response is trying to cast it, but can't because Zaroh doesn't have 6 or more different lands. So yeah, Simon realizes, called Zaroh out on it. That's just gonna get, yes. Zaroh, I guess, thought that he was over the land threshold, but it's actually 6, not 5. So it's just gonna get grabbed. And yeah, now I think the path is clear for a Hunter's Hideout. No, okay, he's gonna Jar a Champ first. Why not, I guess. It's another threat. Okay, he's gonna crack the Clue. This actually could potentially give... Oh, and there's the top deck Reconsider! Which means that this turn the Hunter's Hideout will not be resolving. Okay, so he's gonna swing in with the Intrepid for 4. This Intrepid alone is putting Key on a 2-turn clock past this. So, gonna need a lot of answers. Oh no, and in response, Key is just gonna cycle to Reconsider. Should have waited till end of turn and hits another land. Yeah, I don't know why Zaroh did that in response to attacks. And yeah, now main 2, Simon drops a Hunter's Hideout, and I don't think that Key has any way to come back from that. No, what? Simon just goes to end? Why? Like, I don't think it's gonna matter because Key just drew another land and doesn't really have good outs here. On end, he's gonna crack the Clue. But yeah, Simon not playing the Hunter's Hideout feels like big punt. Because Simon knew that the card that Key drew off the Clue was the Diffuse, and therefore Key didn't have any more interaction and was 100% tapped out. Fortunately, we'll get a second chance here because of the Duress drawn off the Clue. Can just Duress, grab the Diffuse, and then resolve the Hunter's Hideout. But I don't understand. I just don't understand what the plan was there, honestly. Okay, yep, Duress coming down. I think Key's best play is actually just diffuse the Duress and hope that Simon pays for it. Just as like a bluff. Yeah, okay, so he's going to diffuse the Duress. Doesn't have any diffuses in Grave, so it's just to make Simon pay 2 for it. Oh, and Simon is going to pay for it. The Bamboozle worked. And yeah, Key is just all lands, baby. So that's another turn where Simon just is not going to resolve the Hunter's Hideout. And that means that, yeah, like, I don't think it's significant, but I think that, if Zaroh top decks a Journey's End, or not top, either top decks or draws off Aegis a Journey's End, Zaroh survives for at least one more turn, because the Jar Champion is still a threat at that point. I guess technically Zaroh does have the creature lands to chump for a while with, so not quite just dead. Okay, so going to end. And there's the Journey's End. Last minute clutch Journey's End from Key. Oh, Monument of Queens from Simon, though, is going to be another doozy on top of doozies. So yeah, I don't know what Simon is taking so long to think of. Really, the only line is swing with Intrepid. And then, yeah, okay, so it's going to swing in with Intrepid. This forces Key to essentially either chump block it or Journey's End it, which I'm pretty sure Key is just going to Journey's End it. Yup, Journey's End on the Intrepid. Oh, response? He's going to crack the Grim Bastion. What for? And this is actually interesting. I'm not sure if Simon's just doing this because he remembered, or if there's actually something that he can get that helps save Intrepid. No, okay, he's just getting a forest. So Intrepid gets bottomed. Notably, though, Jara Champion still potentially a threat. Um, Simon also gets to resolve Hunter's Hideout right now, and then plays Monument of Queens, and then can activate Monument of Queens on Zaroh's end step as well. And then next turn, activates Monument twice, swings for 3. Like, that is a solid turn. So yeah, come on, Simon, please run out the Hideout. You know you want to. Or actually, you can run out the Hideout and immediately kill Aegis. Actually, that is probably the better play. Like, Hideout, discard Pithwilt, kill Aegis, play Monument of Queens. That also allows for like some suicidal lines with Monument of Queens next turn. Like, you run Monument of Queens into a creature land, but that puts you at 12 cards in grave. So at that point, you can, what do you call it? You have your Hunter's Hideout online, so you can just start creating beasts. So Zaroh's just cycle or counter? Okay, Zaroh's going to cycle. Trying to draw into... I don't know what Zaroh could draw into. Diffuse makes Simon tap out, but doesn't actually counter it. Yeah. So no matter what, Hunter's Hideout is going to resolve. Unless Simon chooses not to pay 4, but like I don't know why Simon would do that. Also, by taking this long to think, it signals to Simon that Key drew a counterspell, basically. One of the 2-mana ones. So Simon, if Simon picked up on that, can play around it. So yeah, Hunter's Hideout resolves, and yeah, he's just going to discard the Pithwilt, shoot Aegis, and now Simon's 1 card off from Hideout being online, and the game is basically just won. Top decked Endless Disco from Zaroh. Little signs of life. Notably, though, did tap one of his creature lands to do this. And Jara Champion has Menace, so it looks like Jara Champion will be able to get in for 3, barring... Oh, picking up Children of the Clouds is actually not a bad idea. Or Journey's End. Okay, he's going to Journey's End, play it, and bottom the Hideout. Playing it while Simon like playing it before Simon gets to draw for turn is a bad idea. Like tapping out on turn to do this. So, because Simon now gets the Scry 3 from Journey's End, and gets to instantly make use of it out of his draw. Okay, Simon's going to pay 3, animate the Monument. Simon might have forgotten the champion text on Jara Champion. It can only attack alone. Oh, yeah, I think Simon just realized it. It's going to undo that real quick. Instead, I think just playing Intrepid is probably the best line here. Play Intrepid, tutor up a Nereba, and then just swing with Jara Champ for 3. And Jara Champ will get in for 3 because Zaroh can't block it. Yeah, once again, this Diffuse is coming in short. It can't counter the Intrepid. Okay, Zaroh is going to Diffuse the Intrepid. I don't know why Key left the Sunrays Ruins up instead of the Canyon Falls. Could have left the Canyon Falls up and potentially grabbed something with Endless Disco. And, like, Zaroh took a long time to consider how to tap his land, so that feels weird. But yeah, Simon's just going to pay all the 4 for the Intrepid. The Children of the Clouds is really going to save Zaroh here, is the takeaway. Because because Zaroh untaps Children of the Clouds for what? 7, 8? Gains 8 life, makes 8 blockers. Suddenly Simon is the one who's on the back foot. Like, I think that single Children of the Clouds could save this entire game for Key Zaroh. Okay, is going to swing in with the Jara Champion, puts Key to a measly 1. Oh no! Actually, super smart play from Simon. Uses Intrepid to find a Grim Bastion, loses 2 life. The Jara Champion grows to a 4/4. Key's just dead. That was a really smart play from Simon and a great way to end off this set. Yeah. So, good games to both players, but Simon Williamson on Green-Black Hunter's Hideout takes it 2-0 over Key Zaroh on Blue-White Control. I think that just Simon had the hand attack plus like a constant stream of must answer, huge value threats, and that was just enough to overwhelm Key's suite of interaction. And I think it'll be interesting to see how these decks do future on, because Key's deck is very much modeled on the deck, like in some respects. I think the choice of counterspells is very different, but in most respects it is modeled on the previous GP winner, while Simon's deck is essentially like a meta breaker, bringing back Hunter's Hideout, which is a win con, which has not been seen in almost a year. So I think that like both these decks are diametrically opposed, and it'll be interesting to see if the results shown here carry on throughout the tournament, because that might have implications for the MSEM meta as a whole. But until that time, this is Caillou signing off.